What's up, guys? Bang, bang. It's lunch money time. We are not doing this tomorrow, on Thanksgiving, or on Friday.
Sad. I'll miss you guys.
I will. We'll see you again on Monday. But before we do that, we should do the episode today. Duh. I'm here with Polina. Bang, bang. While she's trying to get rich, the rest of us just trying to get our lunch money right. And don't forget that lunch money is now sponsored by BlockFi. Here's the deal. BlockFi is awesome. I'm an investor. I sit on the board. They have products that you should use. If you use the products, then you can get really high rates of interest. You can get great loans. You can buy and sell crypto. It's a no-brainer. Go get a BlockFi account. And in fact, because we're not going to be here for the next 2 days, I have a special idea for you. If you go and you sign up for a BlockFi account and then you screenshot it and you tweet it over the next couple of days before Monday, I will pick one of you and I will send you $100.
What?
Yes. But you have to screenshot the fact that you opened an account and you got to tweet it. And if you use hashtag BlockFi Pomp, that's what you got to use. Hashtag BlockFi Pomp, I'll give you $100. Okay, let's get into the episode today.
Bitcoin making moves. If you saw, Anthony was on CNBC this morning talking about Bitcoin. I had nothing to do with his background. That's all. You go.
Bitcoin hit $360 billion market cap for the first time in history this morning. Bang, 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 bang.
Did you say 600?
360 billion. It'll hit $1 trillion one day. Just wait. Let's go. All right, next.
Okay.
We're going to fly through this today because I'm hungry.
No, we're going to do it for the people. Give them the information. Fintech company Stripe is considering a funding round to value it higher than the $36 billion it got on its last round. According to Bloomberg, the new valuation could hit as much as $70 billion or maybe as much as $100 billion.
Stripe is one of the most valuable companies in the world.
I use it. He uses it. We all use it.
Even if their valuation doesn't prove it, I think this is going to be one of the most important companies in the world, like Amazon type importance. And it would not surprise me that one day Stripe ends up being $1 trillion business.
But hold on a second. Oh, you don't think Square could be that?
Square is in payments, but it's a different type of payment service. It's more of a B2C and a peer-to-peer type payments, whereas Stripe is actually the infrastructure that people are using to process payments on the internet.
Got it.
Stripe, $1 trillion company. You heard it here first. They're only 36 to 100 billion right now, so that would be somewhere between a 10 to 20x. But the problem is they're in the private markets. They don't want to go public. That's why they're raising more money in the private markets. So we'll see how it plays out.
Okay. Tesla is recalling more than 9,500 of its Model X and Model Y electric vehicles over potentially faulty roof trim and bolts that could be inadequately tightened.
We'll see. A little bit going on with the whole idea of whether the roof trim and the bolts, you think that's a big deal?
I do.
Why?
Because.
You think so?
What if the roof falls apart?
No, the roof's not going to fall off. Okay, next topic.
I like that they are taking the precaution necessary.
I like that too. Next topic is Oxycontin and Purdue Pharma. Polina's thing's not loading. That's why she's freaking out. She's like doing this because she's trying to get me to give her her phone. I'm not doing it.
Phone.
No.
So thank God we talked about it last night at the dinner table, so you know what's happening, but it won't load because the internet's not working. Purdue Pharma has pled guilty to
criminal charges
in its role in the opioid crisis.
Here's my whole take on this. We talked about it one time before. I do not like a situation where the Sackler family, which started Purdue Pharma, has been able to take $13 billion in wealth. They made $13 billion. The company has now pled guilty to some criminal charges. They're going to pay a fine. There's all kinds of issues with the company. But the individuals behind
family
are walking away with $13 billion. They were never charged criminally, and they ended up agreeing to, I think it was if I remember correctly, it's a $25 million civil penalty, like a settlement. So in a world where we make it profitable to do bad, nefarious, malicious things, people are going to do that all day long. If you say to somebody, hey, if you make $13 billion doing this bad thing, and then at the end, the penalty is just you pay $25 million, everyone's going to go do it. It's stupid. We have to make the penalties worse.
Commensurate or worse.
No, that has to be worse. If you made $13 billion, you need to pay us $15 billion. You want to know how quickly they'd all knock this nonsense off? It's like the banks. If all of a sudden the banks make $2 billion in some scheme, and then it's like, oh, you know what? You have to pay us a $50 million fine. It's literally profitable for them to break the law.
Because it's kind of like the opposite of regular, everyday individuals. If you get in trouble with the law, you're not getting off with $10 fine.
Yeah, and I get the fact that, okay, cool, they're rich, they've got lawyers, they got all this kind of stuff. My point is, there have been thousands of people who have died in this opioid crisis. And the company, it's not like this is an alleged thing now. The company is pleading guilty. They're saying, yes, we did this. We are guilty for doing it. But somehow, the people who were the masterminds behind it are walking away with $13 billion. Again, I actually don't even want to get into the complexity of criminal charges versus not, and corporations being able to shield people from exposure. All that kind of stuff is for a court to decide. There's a legal system. Let that all play out. My problem is, you literally have people walking away with $13 billion, and it was only a $25 million fine. We must make people. I thought about talking there for a second, and then I couldn't talk for a minute. So I was like, "You think that's funny? Do you think that's funny?" I ain't gonna say your face is funny, but that's what I would have said if I wanted to say something.
But you can't say it.
Yeah, because I can't say, like this. We just need to make sure that we are actually taking money from people if they're making money. It's easy. It's not that hard. We can use some common sense here. That's all I got to say. What do you think about this after you're done laughing at me?
It's just, you saw the intent of... Okay, I'm done. All right. Ooh, I needed that.
What do you think?
I say send them all to prison, but that's just, I'm too aggressive. Next topic, Subversive Capital Acquisition, a special purpose company that's growing in the cannabis business, said it acquired 2 California companies and named Sean Jay-Z Carter as its chief visionary officer.
I got 99 problems, but a SPAC ain't one. I got 99 problems and a SPAC ain't one.
All right, are we going to keep going? So the cannabis industry...
I got 99 problems, but a SPAC ain't one.
The cannabis industry has seen a lot of activity, a lot of deals, a lot of transactions in this world in 2020. What the hell is Jay-Z doing as a visionary?
Because he got 99 problems, but a SPAC ain't one.
Oh my God. All right.
Look, here's my favorite part. What
do
he said. Although we know we can't fully redeem the injustices created by the war on drugs, we can help shape a brighter and inclusive future. The brands we build will pave a new path forward for legacy rooted in equity, access, and justice. Listen, marijuana is going to be legal across the United States. It's going to happen. It's a foregone conclusion. Just depends on how long it's going to take. Either people get on board or get out of the way. It's a plant. Who cares? Stop acting like all of a sudden this war on drugs worked. Get out of the way. Weed's going to be legal. Psychedelics are going to be legal. All of this stuff.
So are we just going to be a drugged up society?
It has nothing to do. We already are a drugged up society, just so we're clear. We have prescription pain medications. We have all the opioids. We have alcohol. Alcohol and sugar are drugs. We don't think of them that way, but alcohol is actually worse. It's used by more people and it has worse outcomes than weed.
And withdrawals. Okay. Ready?
That's if I ever ran for president, that would be what I would say.
It's ask lunch money time.
You know what I would say? Make weed legal, make psychedelics legal, make education better by making it lower cost and more accessible. Get rid of the death penalty and get rid of all the idiots in office. There's probably some other things I'd throw in there too.
And make Polina co-president.
Now you can just be the president. I want to be vice president. The VP's got the best job. Ain't take none of the heat, gets all the benefits. Yeah, they'd be like, why did you make this decision? And the VP's over there drinking like a pina colada on a private jet. Like, that guy's got to answer all the questions.
All right. It's Ask Lunch Money time. D. Doan. Awesome channel. Pomp, how do you get started investing in private markets? I do not know where to start. Appreciate any pointers you offer. Keep up the great work. We keep getting this question, but I think it's important.
This is a bad answer. Don't get started. What I mean by that is, again, it comes back to advantages. The best thing that most people can do is they can find people who have an advantage in the private markets, whether it's a specific industry that they're focused on, a specific strategy, they just have a network and access, whatever it is that you can find somebody who has a real advantage. You should give them your money and just pay the fees, right? And the reason why I say that is in the private market specifically, there is such a difference between those with an advantage versus those without. So if you basically give money to, and you're the random, let's say angel investor in, Indianapolis, Indiana, right? And you're like, I'm going to start investing in private companies. And you just like call up all the entrepreneurs in your city and you're like, hey, why don't you meet me at the coffee shop? And I'd like to invest in your business. The odds that you hit a company that ends up being an absolute breakout success and delivers the type of return that you need for an angel or venture style portfolio to perform well is very low. Instead, if you give that same money to somebody in, let's say, Silicon Valley, New York, LA,
a fund manager,
or whatever, then the odds they hit an outbreak company, like Stripe is a perfect example. There's people investing in the seed round, the Series A, the Series B of Stripe. It's now worth tens of billions of dollars.
How much money do I need to give this fund manager in order to see returns? Like, is it an astronomical number?
No, it's all about portfolio construction, right? So most people are looking at the private markets. You got to be an accredited investor, meaning you got to have either $200,000 a year in income for 2 years in a row, or you got to have $1 million in assets, I think, outside of your home, right? So your house doesn't count as assets. And if you have $1 million, some of it you're going to keep in cash, right? So let's say you keep 20% in cash, 30% in cash, whatever the number is. Some of it you're going to put in the public markets. Some of it you're going to put in the private markets. So you got to figure all this out. Maybe you got some real estate, whatever it is. But ultimately, let's say that you say, I want to put 20% in the private market. Then once you get into the private market, you say, okay, do I want it all into equity? Like venture style? Do I want to do some buyout, private equity where they literally leverage buyout type stuff? Or maybe what I want to do is some private credit opportunities. So then you go, okay, well, what's the allocation within my private bucket of private credit, private equity, or venture capital? Then once you get inside of that, you say, okay, my venture capital bucket ends up being 1% of my total assets, right? And so inside of that bucket, I'm going to then take 1% and I'm going to divvy it up among 3 managers. And then you go and you do it. And so the most important decisions you make in investing, which is really important, the decisions you make on asset allocation are almost always more important than you make on security selection. And what I mean by that is asset allocation is how much of my portfolio is going to go into the stock market versus the private market versus real estate versus cash, whatever. That decision is actually way more important than which stock did I buy in my stock portfolio. People don't know that, but that's a really important point.
Julian Rogers, what do you think the best asset classes will be over the next 5 to 10 years? Obviously, Bitcoin and some tech stocks, but what else do you think will thrive or grow steadily while the world undergoes massive changes?
What do you think?
I'm Bitcoin all the way.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that's going to be the best one?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think you'd say that. Okay.
What other asset classes are there?
So I've been
brainwashed.
I definitely think Bitcoin by far outperforms everything. The second thing that I would say is I'm fascinated with psychedelics.
Oh, yeah.
I think that just the regulatory kind of capture that's been there is going to get removed. That's going to be a massive wave. Cannabis is somewhat related to that. Another thing that I think is really interesting is this whole idea of
quantified self. Sorry.
Quantified self is another one, automated content. So the ability to create kind of fake videos, fake audio, all that kind of stuff, but use it for good purposes, not nefarious purposes. I think that'll be big. Basically, the way that I think about investing, for the next 5 to 10 years, is I call it investing at the fringes. So what I mean by that is if you think of okay, you have this bullseye, and that's where everyone else is investing. They're investing in the S&P, they're investing in bonds, they're investing in kind of very down the fairway or bullseye type stuff. Where you actually want to invest if you're looking for really outsized returns is around the fringes, right? So the farther you get away from the bullseye, the better off you are going to be if you're right.
Tell them about the criminals.
Well, so the whole key to investing is you got to do something different than everybody else, right? So you don't want to invest in everything else because that's a commoditized return. You do something different than everybody else, and you got to be right. Bitcoin was a great idea, or kind of fit that thesis a number of years ago. 5 years from now, Bitcoin will probably be a consensus trade, and therefore the return profile will actually the future return profile will be going down. The other thing that I think is really interesting is basically looking at what are 15 to 25-year-old kids today, if you talk to them, what are the things that they're like, duh, this is going to happen, that older people don't actually agree with, right? So Bitcoin is one example, digital assets, but there's other things, right? Cannabis legalization. There's a lot of people over the age of 45, 50 who are like, no way, that'll never happen. The United States war on drugs, I grew up on that, whatever. Young people are like, duh, of course it's going to be. And so what you actually want to do is you want to arbitrage on the demographics or the psychographics of their understanding of society. So there are things that young people believe that older people don't. It's not a knock against older people. It's not an advantage to younger people. It's just that's what they did, right? A certain generation grew up with a cell phone in their hand. They understood a different society than the people who grew up without it. And so that's one of the key pieces to investing is just go talk to young people and just talk to them about what technologies are you interested in? Where do you spend your time? What's on your phone? All that kind of stuff. And you'll uncover a bunch of it.
Anthony Messina, can you please show us your process for planning your day and time management tips?
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to start?
Yeah. We have 3 minutes and then I have to get on a call.
Why are you always going to cut us short here? All right.
Because you would talk for 3 hours.
Well, if you could talk, we wouldn't have this problem. Okay.
She's so impressed with herself right there.
So, always impressed with myself. So for me, time management comes down to I keep a calendar on my computer and I have a physical planner. So writing things down really helps me, and crossing things off is very mentally soothing. But I bucket my days into Mondays and Tuesdays. I work on the Wednesday profile dossier. Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays are reserved for the Sunday email. So technically my days off are Wednesdays and Sundays. But I do that because it just helps me prioritize my time. And I also always try to make, reserve 30 minutes to an hour to get away from technology and just go do a physical activity, whether it's running, yoga, something like that.
Next.
No, what is yours?
Oh, me planning my day? It's all on my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, I don't do it.
He could be better about his time management.
That's why I'm not answering this question.
All right.
I sit on Twitter a lot. I like to tweet. I like to read things, whatever.
That's it for today, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving. Go and tweet a screenshot that you have a BlockFi account. Use hashtag BlockFi Pomp, and I'll send somebody $100. See ya.
Bang, bang. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Lunch Money as much as we did.
And don't forget, Lunch Money is now sponsored by BlockFi, so go check them out. There's a link in the description that you can click on. I'm an investor, a user, and a huge fan. What?
You're a bigger fan of BlockFi than you are of me?
BlockFi is my second favorite thing in the world behind Polina. They've got 3 products. They can give you a US dollar loan. You can earn up to 8.6% interest on an interest-bearing account, or you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies on their crypto exchange. I personally use the interest-bearing account. There's not very many places where you'll find up to 8.6% interest on a deposit in an interest-bearing account. Go do your own research. There's risk associated, but 8.6% is pretty compelling. So click on the link in the description. Say thanks to the folks at BlockFi. Subscribe to our channel. Like the video. Annoy Polina in the comments. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
And be kind to your friends.